Hey, what's up, guys? We're back with another NFL record prediction. Before I get started, make sure to smash that like button, make sure to subscribe, and follow the Instagram in the description below. I always post on there when I'm going to upload or if I'm going to go live. I also do polls on my story to see you guys' opinions on who the better of two players are. So if you're interested in that, make sure to give that Instagram a follow. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. Today we're going to be predicting the Los Angeles Rams 2021 record. Jumping right into it, I say I really like both sides of the ball for the Rams. Okay, Matt Stafford is without a doubt a big upgrade from Jared Goff. I like their receivers. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are one of the more underrated receiver duos in the league. I think they're both, very capable 1,000-yard receivers. So they're both very talented there. I'm also a big fan of their tight end, Tyler Higbee. I think he's very underrated. He gives a lot of production to the Rams and doesn't really get the credit he deserves. So I want to make sure to point that out. Moving to offensive line, I like the tackles. I think the tackles are a bit older than I'd like, but I think they can still play at a decent level. I'm not real sold on the interior offensive line. I'm not really liking what I'm seeing there, but I also wouldn't call it like a bottom 5 offensive line or anything like that. So, all in all, I think their offense is going to perform well. Their defense is what I really like, though. Obviously, you got Aaron Donald. Everybody knows Aaron Donald. But, A'Shawn Robinson is pretty underrated. Sebastian Joseph Day is also one of the more underrated defensive linemen in the league. I think he's going to be really good against the run for the Rams. But also, with Aaron Donald taking double and even triple teams, he's going to get his fair share of, pressures and sacks as well. So, the Rams D-line is looking good. You've also got Leonard Floyd, who, he rushes off the edge. He's listed as more of a linebacker. Really, you can call him an edge rusher. Edge rushers can be linebackers or defensive ends. But really underrated edge rusher there. Going to the secondary, you got Jalen Ramsey, obviously. I think he's, if not the best, the second best corner behind Jair Alexander. I can't make up my mind which one of them is better. I'd probably lean more towards Jalen Ramsey, if I'm being honest, but they're really neck and neck for me. Then you look at Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp is really underrated. I know it's going to take a big hit losing John Johnson, but Taylor Rapp, was he drafted in 2019? I think he was in the 2019 draft. I remember him getting a lot of pre-draft hype, but due to having to sit behind John Johnson, he didn't get really a ton of playing time. But in the time he did get, he showed out. He looked really good. And I think he's going to have a really solid year with the Rams this year. So, overall, their defense also looks really, really good. I'm excited to see where this team, goes this year. I think Sean McVay is also a very, very good coach. So, let's jump right into the prediction. Rams and Bears play each other, quite a bit. They've played each other each the last few years. They're always very defensive battles. I think the Rams are going to win that because now they have the better offense, in my opinion. So I think the Rams are going to win that. I think they also end up beating the Colts, actually. This is a situation a lot like the 49ers where their defensive line, Okay, let me rephrase that. The Colts have a really good offensive line, but the Rams' defensive line is going to be good enough to outmatch that offensive line and going to make Carson Wentz struggle quite a bit. So I see a Rams win there. Going to the Buccaneers, this is actually a harder one for me. Harder than you'd expect. Going back to this last year, this was arguably Tom Brady's worst game. If not, it was at least a bottom 3 game for him. He didn't play very well here. I think Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey are going to give a pretty similar treatment to him this year. I think this is going to be a pretty defensive game. This is really hard for me to predict. Buccaneers, I don't think we can predict them to go undefeated. We can't. I think we're going to have the Rams beat the Bucs there. Week 4, I think the Cardinals are going to split with the Rams. I mentioned in the previous video that the Cardinals, they have a really high power and explosive offense, but I'm not real big on the A.J. Green pickup. I think he's kind of washed. I think Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt are both getting a little bit older, both have an injury history. I don't like that Cardinals secondary, but, I think their offense is just good enough to win one of these games. I think I'm going to have them win in their respective stadiums. So I think I'm going to have the Rams start out 4-0, but Cardinals win the one later on in the season in week 14. Week 5, I also actually think they're going to split with the Seahawks. I'm going to say this right now. I think they split with every team in their division. I think they go 3-3. Let's be honest, all 4 teams in this division could very well be playoff teams. They're all very strong playoff contenders. So you can match them up however you want. I think they're all going to win in their respective stadiums. You could argue that either way. They go 3-3 in their division. I think that's pretty accurate. If there were any team in their division that they would sweep, I think it would be the Seahawks, and that's because actually their lack of offensive line, they didn't really do much this offseason to really fix the offensive line. They also lost Shaq Griffin on that defense. I'm not real sold on the secondary. I'm really not. And I think they can make Russell Wilson struggle a little bit. So that's why if there were any team, in their division that they would sweep, I think it would be the Seahawks. But I think the Seahawks pull off one win. Then I think the Rams. Sorry, I read the Titans right as I was saying that. I think the Rams are going to go on a good sweep here, actually. They're going to beat the Giants. They're going to beat the Lions. They're going to wreck the Texans. And I think they lose to the Titans. I think Derrick Henry will start kind of heating up at this point. Titans are still the favorite to land Julio Jones. Between A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, and Derrick Henry, I just don't think many teams are going to be able to slow that down, and I think the Titans get the win here. It's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be, a very dominating win. It's going to be a fun game to watch, but I think the Titans win that one. We already talked about the 49ers a little bit. A lot of that, I think, is because the 49ers also have a really good defensive line, And where the Rams' defensive line is kind of, I wouldn't say in shambles, but again, just not that great right now, I think they're going to make Matt Stafford struggle quite a bit. I really like that 49ers defense. Going into Week 12, we have the Rams at the Packers. I'll be honest, I don't think they're going to have Aaron Rodgers this year. I don't think it's a smokescreen. I don't think it's, ironic that Aaron Rodgers is sitting out of OTAs. I think he really wants out, and I think he's willing to sit if needed, or maybe just not show up and take the fines. I mean, he's got the money to take the fines, so I could see that happening, and I think the Rams win it. If Aaron Rodgers isn't playing, this should be an easy win for the Packers. If Aaron Rodgers does play, I still think the Rams win, but I think it'll be a lot closer. A lot closer. And then I think the Rams beat the Jags. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's going to be good in the NFL, but he's not going to be able to do much against a good Rams defense like this. Last two games to really talk about are the Vikings and Ravens. I actually kind of like the Vikings this year. They did a little bit to improve their offensive line. Dalvin Cook is still, in my opinion, a top 3 running back in the NFL. I'd put him right behind Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry. I really like Dalvin Cook. Justin Jefferson should have another dominant year. Kirk Cousins, I think, is rather underrated, much like Matt Stafford, actually. I think they have pretty similar play styles. I'd probably say Matt Stafford's better, but Kirk Cousins is also very underrated. I think the Vikings are going to win this year. They're going to be really fighting for a playoff spot this late in the year, and this is going to be a must-win game for them. Week 17, I think the Ravens struggle against the Rams. I think Aaron Donald, really puts a lot of pressure on that offensive line. Lamar Jackson seems to really struggle against the really good defenses in the NFL. So I think the Rams take this one. Now looking back at some of these that I could reverse, like I said, I think they could sweep the Seahawks. I could see that going either way. They could beat the Titans. If they can manage to slow down Derrick Henry and the Titans don't get Julio Jones, I could see the Rams winning. But I think the Titans do end up getting him. I could very well see them beating the Vikings. I think that's just going to be a must-win game for the Vikings that late in the year because they're going to be fighting for playoff positioning. So I think their ceiling honestly could be as high as 14-3. I think their floor is probably about 10-7. So I have them right in the middle there at 12-5. I have this being second in their division, right behind the 49ers. But this does end up being a playoff team and a strong Super Bowl contender. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you think I'm a little too high on the Rams? Do you think there's games here that I predicted them to lose that they should win? Let me know. Anyways, make sure to smash that like button, be sure to subscribe, and follow the Instagram in the description below, and I will see you next time. Later.